Now, what happens to various contracts which are there? Insofar as contracts are concerned, generally in countries where a taxation is there is a clause relating to corporate tax. Just like, you may have a VAT clause. Companies will now need to review both the existing as well as new contract relating to their business from a perspective of the UAE corporate tax. Now you must be wondering, what difference does it make? Currently, there is no withholding tax in the UAE. Therefore, there will be no clause which might be required at this point in time under the contract for deduction of taxes, deduction of withholding taxes from payments made by one party to the other. However, generally in such cases, companies still prefer to add a withholding tax, particularly in long-term contract, to cover a situation where, if the withholding tax is introduced at any future point in time, or maybe in respect of select payments, these clauses can take care of those aspects in a future date. So all contracts will now need to be reviewed to see that suitable clauses are added to ensure that if a withholding tax is introduced at a future date, those are also factored within the provisions that we have right now. But in cases where there is a short-term contract, you're absolutely sure that this is going to be ending in the period when there is no tax liability, then there may not be a requirement to have such a kind of contract. Second, in case of contracts where, the tax liability has to be borne by either the purchaser or the recipient of service, suitable clauses will need to be added to clarify this aspect. So for example, generally what happens is many companies, let's say in USA, if they provide certain services to a UAE company, they would want that the fee that they receive for providing these services should be net of taxes. What that means is that insofar as the UAE company is concerned, when it makes the payment, the tax has to be borne by the UAE entity. So commercially, these clauses should actually be considered by a company when entering into a contract. And insofar as old contracts are concerned, or the existing contracts are concerned, they should be suitably reviewed to see if they require any changes to clarify this aspect explicitly.